before you watch Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, I am going to recap the journey that the heroes of the movie have taken so far throughout the MCU, as well as give my thoughts onto some stuff that we might be able to expect from the movie. So if you enjoyed this video today, feel free to like and subscribe for future Marvel content. So I will be primarily following Scott Lang's journey through the MCU and through all of the crossover movies, as well as his own movies and stuff like that. When it comes to crossover movies, I will only be going over the parts that involve Scott Lang directly. So starting with the first Ant-Man movie, so Hank Pym is a retired S.H.I.E.L.D. scientist / S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who resigned after finding out S.H.I.E.L.D. was trying to replicate his Pym particle. And in present day, Darren Cross at Pym Technologies is almost successful in doing so, so Hank Pym wants to steal the suit that Darren Cross has made to prevent it from getting in the wrong hands. Hank Pym is in no shape to do this himself, so he tricks Scott Lang, a former felon who is in prison for a Robin Hood-style theft crime, to steal the suit from his house to see if he should be the one to wear it. After stealing and then returning the suit after it shrinks him, Scott gets arrested, but Hank uses ants and the suit to break him back out. Hank and his daughter, Hope, train Scott to be ready to steal the suit, while also revealing that Hank and Hope's mom, Janet, used to be an Ant-Man and the Wasp duo for S.H.I.E.L.D. back in the day, but Janet shrunk between molecules to disarm a nuclear bomb, which sent her into the quantum realm with no way out. During their preparation, Scott at one point has to steal something from the Avengers compound in upstate New York, and he gets into a fight with Sam Wilson, Falcon. So afterwards, Scott and his crew initiate their plan to steal Darren Cross's suit, which is the Yellow Jacket suit, but they're initially unsuccessful, and it leads to a fight between Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket. And Yellow Jacket goes to bait Scott by putting his daughter Cassie in danger, but Scott shows up to protect Cassie and ends up shrinking between molecules to disable Darren Cross's suit, which also makes Cross infinitely shrink as well and presumably kills him. So seemingly stuck in the quantum realm, Scott manages to reverse the effects of his suit to make him grow bigger and bigger until he is back out of the quantum realm. The movie ends with Sam Wilson seemingly looking for Scott and has a post-credit scene that teases Ant-Man's appearance in Civil War. In Captain America Civil War, Scott is brought onto Team Cap when Sam goes looking for him, and he is a part of the fight between Team Cap and Team Iron Man at the airport in Germany. During the fight, he manages to grow his size normally for the first time to become a giant and distract Team Iron Man so that Cap and Bucky can escape and take care of the other super soldiers that are being awakened by Zemo. The remained members of Team Cap lose and are arrested and imprisoned in the maximum security prison, the Raft. In Ant-Man and the Wasp, 2 years have passed since the events of Captain America Civil War, and Scott Lang is on house arrest for his involvement helping Team Cap. Meanwhile, Hank Pym and Hope Van Dyne are working on a quantum realm tunnel because they believe that Janet Van Dyne could still be in the quantum realm and they want to save her. So unknowingly, Scott had actually formed some type of quantum connection with Janet when he had entered the quantum realm the first time, and while they're trying to figure out how to work the quantum realm, Scott basically gets a vision of some kind of like a dream, that seems really real to him, as if he was Janet and stuff like that. So Scott reaches out to Hope and Hank Pym about it, and which ends up having them kidnap him and have an ant replace him with an ankle monitor, so that way FBI agent Jimmy Woo doesn't know that he left his house. And they end up Scott ends up helping Hank and Hope try to finish the quantum realm tunnel together. At one point, they need to buy a specific part to finish the tunnel from black market dealer Sonny Birch, but in the process, Sonny Birch tries to double-cross them, but it also leads to an enemy called Ghost, who appears and also steals Hank Pym's lab, which was shrunk down to the size of a suitcase. So Hank Pym reaches out to Bill Foster, who was a former friend of Hank from back in the day, to figure out how they might be able to locate the lab, and Bill Foster ends up helping. After they find the lab, they're captured by Ghost, who is revealed to be Ava Starr, and her father used to be another former partner of Hank Pym who had died with his wife during an experiment that caused Ghost's unstable state, where she shifts between kind of like quantum realm and using quantum energy. She like phase shifts and stuff like that. It is also revealed that Bill Foster is actually helping Ava, and they plan on using the Quantum Realm tunnel to get Janet out, and then use any Quantum Realm energy that is infused into Janet to help heal Ava, although Pym realizes that that will most likely kill Janet, so he refuses to help them, and they manage to escape with the lab. They manage to open a stable version of the tunnel, and they get contacted by Janet directly, who is able to input coordinates as to where she's located. And then Hank ends up going into the Quantum Realm and ends up actually finding Janet, and they are able to escape together. And meanwhile, while Hank is doing stuff inside the Quantum Realm, Scott and Hope are trying to evade Sonny Birch and his kind of goons, as well as Ghost and Bill Foster as well, and to try to give Hank enough time to get Janet out of the Quantum Realm. By the time that Hank and Janet manage to escape the Quantum Realm, everybody is already in the lab essentially fighting as soon as they arrive back, and Janet is actually able to use Quantum Realm energy to temporarily heal Ava from her condition and make it better, so that way she doesn't have to die by being completely drained of the Force. The movie ends with Scott Lang returning home, and he is successfully no longer on house arrest because he was never fully caught. And then in a post-credit scene, Hank Pym, Scott Lang, and Hope and Janet are trying to harvest more quantum energy so that way they can help Ava, aka Ghost's condition. So they send Scott to the Quantum Realm to basically gather all these quantum energy so that he can bring it back out with them. So before he goes in, Janet does warn Scott to watch out for basically a time vortex, because it could basically get him sucked up and they wouldn't be able to bring him back. So while Scott is in the Quantum Realm and he gathers all the quantum energy, he lets them know inside the Quantum Realm that he's ready to get back out. And when we see outside of the Quantum Realm, we see that Hope, Hank, and Janet all got dusted as a result of Thanos wiping out half of the universe. In Avengers Endgame, Scott comes back out of the Quantum Realm that was attached to the back of his van 5 years later, which is now present day, and only 5 hours has passed for him. The first thing he immediately does is to see if Cassio's alright, which she is, but she is now a teenager because she was not dusted. So Scott Lang goes to upstate New York to the Avengers compound to tell Captain America and Black Widow exactly what happened to him, and to propose that maybe time travel is a possibility to undo everything that's happened as a result of Thanos. They go to see Tony Stark, and Tony Stark basically shoots them down, saying that he can't risk anything like that because of what he has now, basically his family with Pepper and Morgan Stark, his daughter. So they go to find Bruce Banner, who is now in a permanent Hulk form, who does end up helping them with the time travel, but he is not as successful because he manages to pass time through Scott, which basically makes Scott a baby, an old man, and so on. However, then Tony Stark shows up, and he did manage to perfect time travel without them knowing, and they do end up devising a plan to go back in time and get Infinity Stones from different parts in the past to form their own Infinity Gauntlet and snap in present day to bring back the other half of the universe. Scott Lang himself specifically is a part of the crew with Bruce Banner's Hulk, and then Captain America and Iron Man when they go back to the Battle of New York to try to retrieve the Space Stone, the Mind Stone, and the Time Stone all at once. So they manage to get the Time Stone, and they manage to get the Mind Stone, but they are unsuccessful in getting the Space Stone, and Loki, a variant of Loki now, ends up taking the Tesseract and ends up teleporting away because of a fluke, basically, and Tony Stark gets hit by the Hulk, and the Tesseract goes flying. So now, Tony Stark and Captain America go back even further to another point in the 1970s where they knew where the Tesseract was, and Scott Lang ends up bringing the Mind Stone back to present day in 2023. The time heist managed to be successful, although Black Widow unfortunately did not make it out because she had to sacrifice herself for the Soul Stone. So now with all 6 Infinity Stones, they reassemble a new Infinity Gauntlet, which the Bruce Banner's version of the Hulk manages to snap and bring back the other half of the universe. However, at the same time that this happens, the Nebula from the past brings Thanos and his forces from the past to the future to fight the Avengers. So this leads to a fight between the Avengers who are already at the compound and Thanos and his forces, and they seemingly are about to lose, but then all of the remaining forces and Avengers who got dusted 5 years ago end up showing up to help for the one final big climactic battle. The final battle ends with Tony Stark sacrificing protecting himself by using the Infinity Gauntlet to snap away Thanos' forces. And then the movie ends with Tony Stark's funeral and Cap going on a mission to put the Infinity Stones back at the proper points in time as to not to disrupt the normal flow, but he ends up not coming back to present day and ends up being in the past and having a life with Peggy Carter. And then we have an old man version of Cap who is now in present day, and he gives the Captain America shield to Sam Wilson. So now for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So one of the main things that we do know about Quantumania is that the main villain of the movie is Kang the Conqueror. So Kang the Conqueror is the main villain the MCU is attempting to set up as their next big bad for the next 3 phases or so. Obviously now we are in phase 5 with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. The last movie of phase 4 was Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So this is going to culminate in an Avengers movie titled Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, as well as the part 2 seemingly to that movie, which is Avengers: Secret Wars. So Kang the Conqueror is an Avengers time-traveling villain, and what really makes him so menacing is that there's always kind of a different version of him out there somewhere. So just when you think you might have killed one Kang or something, there is another version of Kang out there. There's multiple different variations and variants of Kang in the comics, and we've actually already seen one in the MCU in the form of He Who Remains at the end of Loki in Loki episode 6. That He Who Remains is a Kang the Conqueror variant, and now we get to see Kang the Conqueror in the flesh. Now, one of the things is that we don't know entirely if this is going to be the main Kang the Conqueror that is going to be lead into Kang Avengers: The Kang Dynasty and stuff like that, which is something about Kang, is that this Kang the Conqueror could potentially die and the heroes could win in this movie, but there could easily just be another and more dangerous variant of Kang that ends up being the main villain in the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars and stuff like that. We also know that M.O.D.O.K is going to be in this movie, and it looks like M.O.D.O.K is going to actually be Darren Cross from the first Ant-Man movie. M.O.D.O.K is an acronym that stands for Mental Organism Designed Only for Killing, and he has a gigantic head. It's going to be kind of funny to see how they explain how Darren Cross is M.O.D.O.K now and why his head is so enormous. But he has kind of like psionic powers in the comics, so telekinesis and stuff like that. So as far as the plot goes for the movie, the only things that we know for sure is that Hank, Hope, Janet, Scott, and then his daughter Cassie all get sucked into the quantum realm at some point, and that's where they meet Kang and stuff like that. And Kang asks Scott, seemingly he's threatening him almost, by saying if you want your daughter basically back, almost as if he has his daughter imprisoned. He tells Scott if he wants his daughter that he has to help him basically with a theft of some kind. And we don't entirely know what the theft is, but one could speculate that it looks like a power source for Kang's time chair. Kang's time chair is basically what he can use to travel through time and stuff like that. Now, one thing about Kang the Conqueror is that because he is going to be the main villain, like I already said, that is built up through multiple movies in multiple phases, it is possible that heroes could die in this movie. They could be using this movie as kind of like a statement showing that Kang is to not be trifled with. So this could be giving Kang his just dues with this movie. So it's possible that Scott Lang might not make it out of this movie. I'm not entirely sure, but if he does manage to get Kang's time chair working, I mean, all hell is basically going to break loose. So that's obviously going to be... We're going to have to wait and see how that turns up. But comment down below if you're excited for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And if you enjoyed this video today, feel free to like and subscribe for future Marvel content. And I appreciate you for watching the video.